It's Get Out of Here. I'm Warren Levinson.
I'm taking my film on this tour of the South, and unfortunately, Rachel can't come with me because she got sick. So I'm wondering if you want to come with me instead.
Alex!
So how many people did you call before you called me to come on this trip with you?
You're not the first person I called.
I really like this movie. It's called Red Flag from 2013 by Alex Karpovsky. I like it not because it's a great movie, but because it is as meta as they come. Alex Karpovsky, who made a movie called Woodpecker, which made the rounds of Southern film festivals, plays a filmmaker named Alex taking a movie named Woodpecker around to Southern film festivals. I think I can say without fear of contradiction that there is a film festival on right now or about to open within a few hundred miles of where you are right now. The number of film festivals is staggering. There's some 3,000 of them around the world. A lot of them are famous, of course, like Cannes, Sundance, or Toronto. A lot more are regional or niche. There are more than 10 black film festivals around the country. There's something like 70 Jewish film festivals in the Americas the first half of this year alone. Our guide to the film festival experience is Associated Press writer Jake Coyle. Jake's a veteran of many years writing about movies. He's been a film festival goer, a festival reporter, and a film festival juror. Jake Coyle, let's start with what you've been to, what your roles have been in various film festivals. Which ones have you been to?
I've been to Cannes, to Sundance, to Toronto, to the major New York film festivals, New York and Tribeca. I've been to a handful of festivals as a juror, the Montclair Film Festival in New Jersey and the Sarasota Film Festival in Florida. And I've also been to the London Film Festival just as a moviegoer.
Okay. And London Film Festival, that's the only one you've been to actually as a moviegoer?
I mean,
you've seen pictures at various that are
right.
Part of various festivals.
I suppose I go as a moviegoer to them all. But, I was just 20 years old when I went to the London Film Festival, and I vividly remember seeing Lynn Ramsey's Ratcatcher, which is now a beloved art house film, but I saw it there at the Leicester Square premiere.
Okay. Well, cool. Yeah. And how do they rope you in as a juror, or is it a sort of thing that you kind of look forward to actually getting a chance to do?
Well, they reach out. I think they occasionally try to fill their juries with critics and along with filmmakers and other sort of people in the industry. It's when I've done it, I've enjoyed it. It's a chance to be at a festival in a slightly different kind of role, to see some good movies and talk about them.
Is the experience of festival going to film festivals different from regular movie watching?
Yeah, it is. For starters, you don't get 30 minutes of commercials before a movie. There's a frenzy to them, especially the large film festivals. There's a buzz, there's an excitement that comes from seeing a movie that hasn't been seen before or that has only been seen before at a few other festivals. It's you feel closer to the whole process, I would say, of a movie's release. I think they're great. I haven't been to a film festival that I haven't liked before.
Now, we live in New Jersey, and you mentioned the Montclair Film Festival, which you've served as a juror on. We have been members of the Montclair Film Festival since its inception, and I will say this, that when the schedule comes out for the festival, that is a very big day in our house. My wife and I sit down laptop to laptop and try to plan out what we will be doing for 10 days, about 5 weeks from that point. And in fact, the moment the tickets go on sale to members, I am there, order in hand. I'm watching the clock tick down, and it may seem a little fanatic, but one year we were waiting for friends to make up their minds, and we waited like a day into it, and we were already shut out of things we wanted to see. So not doing that again. So you talk about it, it's kind of frantic. The other thing that it seems to me is, and this is true because we live there, but I think it might also be true for people who go away from their homes, is that you kind of run into similar people, the same kind of people, your paths cross. That's the sort of thing that you've had that experience?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a community to a film festival. Often the people working at them are volunteers themselves, whose only pay is getting to go to some of those movies. I think that's something that's generally probably lacking in most film goers' kind of experience. You get it to a certain degree at the theater. Any theater you go to, any time you see a movie, you see with other people. But when you go to a film festival, you're getting there. Excuse me. You're participating in an event. In a collective way. You're also often there with the filmmakers and the casts of films too. If you go to a premiere, you might have the director come out after. The director may come out afterward for a Q&A. I think there's a spirit of shared movie love that comes with a film festival.
Yeah, you're all you're kind of in this together, and you bring up one of my favorite things about film festivals, which are not just the movies but out of movie experiences. I'm much more likely to sign up for a picture when I'm making out that schedule if I know there's a Q&A afterward, whether it's the director or screenwriter or one of the performers. And some of my favorite events, in fact, from film festivals are some of the Q&As afterward. Fortunately, in Montclair, we're blessed with that Stephen Colbert is a big figure, and he seems to take it. He's taking his responsibilities seriously, and so he will do some of the best, Q&As, sometimes separate Q&A, separate from any movies, to talk with a performer or writer, and sometimes ones that are related to the picture.
Yeah, it can be extraordinarily powerful. Even like I remember seeing memorable Q&As at festival premieres of people cheering for Adam Sandler to get an Oscar, but also things like not so long ago I was at the Sundance Film Festival where a much awaited documentary on sexual abuse in the music industry made its premiere, and there were a number of survivors of abuse and assault depicted in the movie there at the screening, which completely changed what that evening was. It made it really, really powerful.
Wow. Let's talk about the personalities of different festivals. So tell me, for instance, Toronto Film Festival. How's that personality different from, say, New York or Tribeca?
Yeah, I think every festival does take some of its character from its locale. Toronto was for some years kind of nicknamed the Festival of Festivals. It is, I think, an audience-friendly film festival. For example, Cannes. If you want to go to the Cannes Film Festival, you can go there and you can walk around on the Quezette, but it's virtually impossible to go to any movie that's premiering there. It's mostly reserved for the industry and for the media. That's not true at Toronto. Those audiences are filled with, quote unquote, real people, people from the city or who have traveled there who just want to go to the movies. And I think many of the best festivals are that way. You get a different experience if you go to a movie that's not full of, the more jaded industry people, but you get something. I think Toronto is a fun festival, and I think it's also a festival that reflects. This is what the programmers will always say: the diversity of the city. Toronto is a big, teeming city with all kinds of people, and its movies are that way too. It's the festival is just it's absurdly large. It's impossible to get to everything, but it is the major North American launch pad for the fall movies.
But New York is a big teeming city as well, with a lot of diversity, and I'm guessing a long schedule that you can't possibly get to all those movies. But it has always struck me, as somebody who has lived in this area for most of my life, that it's something that's not for me. Am I getting it wrong?
Well, I think there are other people who feel that way, but they've been trying to change that up at Lincoln Center where they hold the New York Film Festival. They a year or so ago changed their name from the Film Society at Lincoln Center to Film at Lincoln Center, just because I think society sounded like it wasn't very welcoming. And I would say if anybody feels like the New York Film Festival isn't for them, it sure is. I feel like people might be more familiar with the name and brand of the Tribeca Film Festival, which is a younger film festival. But New York is a different beast, and one with I would say among the best selections of any film festival in the world. You can go to anything in its main slate of movies, and you'll see something worth seeing. They are much more selective in what they choose. Their main slate of movies is usually no more than 25 or so films, and while there's frenzy to the festival, it's not like others where it's all about awards buzz or the world premiere status. It's more about giving a cross-section of the very best movies of that year or of that moment from around the world. I think it's a great festival, and if anybody was coming to New York in the fall, that would be a good one to go to.
Before we take a break, we'll come back and we'll talk about individual festivals. Tell me what it's like to be a juror.
Well, it's not so different than just watching a bunch of movies and talking about them. Both times I've done it for documentary features, and you watch 8 to 10 movies. It depends how many are in the selection, but it can be more at other festivals. In Cannes, for example, the top jury comes in and is seated in the back rows of theaters for their screenings of about 22 movies, and my experiences aren't quite as illustrious as those. But it's you watch the movies and then you get together with your fellow jurors and talk about them and hash out a way to give out some awards. And I think probably most jurors end up wanting to give more awards than they are even allotted.
It's Get Outta Here, the AP Travel Podcast. I'm Warren Levinson. We'll have more on going to film festivals with AP film writer Jake Coyle after a break. It's Get Outta Here, the AP Travel Podcast, talking with Jake Coyle about traveling to film festivals around the world. So, Jake, among all your festival going, do you have a favorite?
A favorite festival?
Favorite festival.
Well, I can't not say the Cannes Film Festival. There are things I don't love about Cannes. It's very formal. It's very it can be pretentious. It's certainly not for the average moviegoer. You can't just show up there and go to a premiere. You can't buy tickets really. But it is such a rarefied way of watching movies. It's a place where they absolutely, completely believe in the art form as ardently as anybody can. At Cannes, cinema is life. It's just it's and there aren't too many places that are like that these days. It's easy to feel that at a film festival. But nowhere is cinema taken more seriously than it is at Cannes, for better or worse. But it's often for better, and it's where you see so many just colossal movies. It's where Parasite, our recent Best Picture, premiered last year. It's also just the screenings are kind of immaculate. The projections are pristine. And there's a glamour to it. It's not the oldest film festival, but it's close, and it's got incredible history to it. It's a pretty special experience. But I will say the Sundance Film Festival may be the premier American film festival. is also incredibly enjoyable. It's many things Cannes isn't. It's dressed down. It's not on the French Riviera. It's in a mountain town in Utah. It doesn't have billionaires and celebrities pulling up in yachts like Cannes does. People wear boots and sweaters, and that's what it is. But it's laid back atmosphere makes it more approachable than Cannes or Venice or somewhere like that. And there's a sense of discovery that's especially potent at Sundance, where you just don't know who the next great filmmaker is going to be until you're there in the theater watching their film. Those are good ones.
Sundance is in January in Park City in Utah, a great little resort town, not so little anymore. Are there a lot of people who come there to sort of mix movie going with a day on the slopes here, a day at the resort here, and a couple of days at the movies?
I'm not sure. I think the industry takes up a lot of the town when it comes in, but if you can do that, I think it's a good way to go, because if you do get on the slopes during Sundance at Park City or Deer Valley, you're not gonna. It's not going to be crowded. Most of the people in Park City at that time are at the movies, and so if you're finding a way to ski in and go to the films, you'll be happy.
I did ski at Snowbird once during the Olympics in Salt Lake. Also, a good thing. This is a little known thing. Go to the city of the Winter Olympics if you're not going to the games. Go to ski, because everybody assumes the slopes will be crowded. They're not. And to go back to Cannes, so you say, all right, we regular people, if we were going to Cannes during the festival, we would most likely not get into the movies, even if we did bring the great outfits that you'd have to bring just to be credible at these screenings. But is it still worth going? Well, it is the French Riviera, and it is lots of glamorous people around. Or would that just sort of leave you with a feeling, if I am such an outsider, this is really just not for me?
Well, I think there would be better times to go. If you want to see movies, there are better festivals to go to. If you just want to be around the experience of a film festival, it's still exciting. There's plenty of glamour. You might get glimpses of stars going down the Quezette or arriving for premieres. And they show movies on the beach there for free. But, landing a ticket is just about the hardest thing to do in Cannes. Occasionally, when you're coming out of the Palais, the center hub of the festival, there's often people in tuxedos and dresses pleading for tickets for that night's movie with signs or other ways. And, occasionally they get a miracle. They get a ticket, but that doesn't happen too often.
The number of film festivals is mushrooming. I mean, we've only touched on a few, but I'm just going to rattle off numbers off the top of my head. Hamptons Film Festival in New York, Marfa in Texas, Traverse City in Michigan, Telluride in Colorado, Los Angeles Film Festival, Miami Film Festival, Reykjavik gets a lot of buzz. You mentioned London. Why so many? What is it?
Well, I'm not sure. I think there are something like 3,000 or more film festivals around the world now, and many of them have sprouted up in the last 10 or 15 years. I think they're just what used to be a seldom experience for moviegoers is now a much more common one. Years ago you could read reports from Sundance or Cannes. Now you can go to your 2 towns over and go to a film festival. It's not so far removed, and I think that's because people are looking for something different. I think you go to the multiplex, it can be a boring, predictable experience. At a film festival, you don't know what you're going to get, and that's exciting. And it's a chance to experience a movie-going way that is different and that is less predictable and potentially more rewarding. I grew up in a small town in Connecticut that didn't even have a movie theater when I was a kid, and now it has a film festival. I can't believe this. Everywhere it seems to have a film festival now, and I think that's good. We hear a lot about movie going declining.
Right. We have, movies are they're available in so many different ways, not just discs, but streaming, etc. And clearly the audience seems to be developing a preference for seeing them at home as the screens get bigger and you have more control over the experience. And yet film festivals are, as we say, mushrooming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. I'm not entirely sure why, but I think it does have to do with the different kinds of movies you can see there, the sense of community you can have there. Streaming movies is fine, but it pales in comparison to seeing a movie at a film festival. And I think, and certainly the streaming services agree also. You might enjoy seeing a movie on Netflix, but Netflix very possibly bought that movie at a film festival,
right,
or premiered it there. If we actually had figures of how many people go to film festivals, it might kind of tell a different story about what movie going is to the American public right now.
Right. That would be really interesting.
I mean, it is very hard to, at the Toronto Film Festival, sit down for a premiere at the Princess of Wales Theatre and not think that movie-going is a vibrant, exciting art form right now. It is hard to go to these places and not think movies still have all the draw that they used to.
Is there a festival you haven't been able to go to? Obviously, there are many you haven't been able to go to. Is there one you're really eager to actually get on your schedule somehow?
I'd love to go to Telluride. Telluride comes in the fall, right in between Venice and Toronto. It's a different film festival than most because it doesn't announce its films until the day it opens.
Wow.
When you go, you're going on faith and rumors, but it always has some of the top films of the fall. I'd love to go there. It sounds the kind of mountain late summer experience sounds great. There are others too. Carlo V. Vary in the Czech Republic sounds great to me. I would love to go to Locarno in Switzerland. There's the Marrakesh Film Festival in Morocco. Those are some of the ones that I'd love to see.
And the entertainment editors are all busily looking for ways to get you the budget to send you there, right?
Well, that's the thing. There's no budget to accommodate all the film festivals in the world. I think it has put the rise of all these film festivals has put some stress on entertainment departments. But it's a good problem to have. I mean, there's one called True False in Missouri that just shows documentaries.
There's a documentary festival in Durham, North Carolina, at the Duke Center for Documentaries.
Mm-hmm.
There's, I think there's one in New York. Well, there probably are several in New York.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. But tell me, the True False in Missouri.
Well, documentaries have become increasingly a part of film festivals. For a while they weren't shown so frequently at the top film festivals. Now they're right there alongside fiction films for the most part. And True False, I haven't been there. I don't know what it's like, but I think a lot of the charm of some of the smaller film festivals are that they're not at these epicenters of industry where you have everybody from Hollywood and other industries convening at a place like True False. You're far removed from New York and Los Angeles. I think a lot of the smaller local film festivals have the charm of being just movie lovers of that location.
And what is your next film festival trip? Do you know yet?
I think it'll be Cannes in May. I mean, like you were saying before, when you get the schedule, it's very exciting for a film reporter. It also helps tell the story of what this year is going to be. You get an idea at these film festivals what movies we're going to be talking about for months to come. And when we get the lineup for a festival like Cannes or Toronto or New York, it's exciting. The Irishman premiered at the first opening night at New York Film Festival last fall. Who knows what will be at Cannes this year? There'll be people. You'll soon start seeing articles about what might be ready for Cannes, what might be there. It ends up being ordering your whole year because spring Sundance moves into Berlin, which is going on right now. Then you also have Tribeca starting in the spring, and Cannes is the big summer festival, and then fall with Toronto, New York, Venice. Telluride. It's a kind of nonstop cycle.
It's quite a whirl, and it's sort of a little exciting. I don't know, and not as a film writer, but as just a moviegoer, it's kind of a little extra exciting when a movie starts to hit big in the public that you remember having seen 6 months or 8 months ago at a festival.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. No, it's I've vivid memories of movies I've seen at different festivals. You don't forget it when you see it in that kind of distinct atmosphere.
Jake Coyle, thanks a lot. Appreciate you taking the time.
Well, thanks, Warren.
Jake Coyle has been covering movies for the AP for 10 years. And now, my favorite trip.
My mom was Katy Keene. She was a seamstress. I was named after her. She always used to say, you don't have to be rich to be stylish. We would get inspired by our favorite designers and make our own.
You may know Lucy Hale as Katy Keene, the lead in the Riverdale spinoff by the same name on the CW. Lucy Hale is also in the new horror picture Fantasy Island. It was shot in Fiji, which, she told our colleague Alicia Rancilio, turns out to be a pretty nice place to work.
We shot in Fiji, and we were there for 2 months. You see if you've seen the movie, it's just like so striking, so stunning, and but it was cool because we would film, and on our days off, we'd go like snorkeling, and we would go hiking and see waterfalls. It was really great, and it was on my bucket list places to visit. Actually, the first 2 weeks, we were filming the part of the movie where we're like arriving at the island and where all the stuff inside the house. That was the first 2 weeks. So we would live on this. It was not a cruise ship. It wasn't as big as you would think. It was like, it's a very big yacht. And so we would take little speedboats into the island every day and film and come back and sleep and eat and do it all over again.
Such a great location. I had to ask,
Yeah.
Was this one of your favorite places, or is there another place you visited that you'd love to tell us about?
Yeah, this was like definitely up there. I've been lucky to go to some cool places, but Cambodia was really neat. Santorini in Greece was really cool. I don't know. I've been very lucky that I've gotten to go some really, but Fiji's on it there. About Cambodia, it's so drastically different from how I live my everyday life. It's, people have, it's just the culture is just so different, and I find that really interesting. Just a very different way of life and the foods they eat. It's very beautiful as well. And then Santorini looked like a postcard. It was so beautiful, and the food there is amazing as well.
Lucy Hale plays Katy Keene on the TV series. She's also in the new movie Fantasy Island. She spoke with AP television producer Alicia Rancilio. And that's the show. Get Outta Here is a production of the Associated Press in partnership with Westwood One, produced under the supervision of Nikessa Moody and Peter Costanzo. I'm Warren Levinson. We'll see you next time.